So everybody, thank you for coming. Welcome to our virtual hangout. We are actually doing Cooking Methods 101 and Summer Sips. I'm going to keep my friends here front and center because they are the show. Tonight, we're going to be joined by our Unite for Her culinary dietitian team. Plus, we have a very special cooking hangout where we're going to have 4 delicious ways to prepare summer berries. Plus, we are launching Summer Sips. And plus, we have a guest bartender tonight, which is super fun. So it is a fun one for you to join in on. Who doesn't like, all of these things wrapped up into one? Just as a little reminder, make sure you mute yourself just so that we are putting our staff front and center, no background noise. You know that you can always interrupt with the chat and ask some questions. I'm going to be monitoring them. If you raise your hand, I will see you. So I'll make sure that we will get to that as well. And of course, we are recording this presentation. It can all be viewed on our Her Library. We also want to thank our sponsors because, Erin and I do these 3 times a month, if not more, and they are incredible. We cannot do what we do without them. So we want to thank Wes and Merck, Daiichi Sankyo. They're our lead sponsors. And then we have additional support coming from GSK, Lilly, Gilead Sciences, and Immunogen that is now a part of AbbVie. So thank you to all of their support. And we will continue to bring you topics that are front of mind. And make sure you tell us what you want to hear. I mean, we listen to your voices. Erin does a beautiful job of directing our education and pulling in all these different topics. And we sit down and set the calendar. We want to hear your voice. So make sure you talk to us about what you feel is missing or you want to hear about. Another reminder is that we have an Ask the Experts coming up. That's Thursday, June 20th at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. We're going to be joined by Joanna Doran, cancer rights attorney and CEO of Triage Cancer. She is a great partner of ours, and she'll be answering all the questions about managing medical bills and how to seek financial support with cancer. Submit your questions, of course, at uniteforher.com/herlibrary/ask, and we will put that in the chat for you. If you want to, we love it if you tell us where you're coming in from. We have people from all over the nation, so that's always fun for us to see. Utilize the chat. We'll be answering those questions. Really fun for us to do. All right, now I am going to pass it over to Aubrey. Aubrey is going to be front and center, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about what this wonderful Summer Sips program is all about. And Aubrey, I'm going to let you take it from here. Thanks, Aubrey.
Of course. And thank you, Sue, for hosting. And so I am so excited to share with you what you may have already seen come across your social media feed. However, we here at Unite for Her this summer, so June, July, and August, are starting a new series called Summer Sips. Now, I know that I talk to a lot of members who let me know that especially during the summer, they feel a little bit more pushed to imbibe and to consume alcoholic beverages. Now, as we know, we want to focus on having other forms of hydration, especially during the summer when we have all those excess losses from our sweat and the heat, etc. But we still want to enjoy a fun and delicious beverage, especially when we're at a social gathering or a place where we would typically choose to have a drink. Now, Summer Sips is our way to help share some zero proof, meaning zero alcohol recipes with all of you. So all summer long, every single Friday, you will see a new zero proof recipe come through on our blog as well as our social media channels. We started last week with our first recipe, and today really launches Summer Sips with our special guest that we have from our partners at Ritual. Ritual is a zero proof spirit brand. However, lots of our zero proof beverages feature just different juices, beverages, fruits, herbs, other ingredients that you can add into a delicious drink. So with Summer Sips, we want you to feel encouraged to try new recipes, new, fun, exciting things. Maybe you try something you haven't had before, and you'll have lots of ideas for how you can make some delicious drinks for your next barbecue or social gathering. So with that, I will send it back over to Sue to introduce our very special guest that we have presenting with us this evening.
Amazing, Aubrey. Thank you. And I'm just going to keep you here with me because, this kickoff of the Summer Sips, we actually have Tom Halaska. He's Ritual's National Sales Director. Tom is a seasoned professional with more than 23 years of experience in the restaurant industry. He has a passion for innovation and a keen eye for emerging trends. And he spent the last 7 years specializing in craft and non-alcoholic category. So carving out a seat at the table for a rapidly evolving category. Beyond his professional pursuits, Tom is deeply committed to the community involvement, having dedicated significant time and energy to various local and national initiatives and charitable causes. So Tom is actually joining us from Texas, and we are going to get his recording in because he just did it for us so that he could join. And I am going to share my screen and get Tom already here. All right, here we go.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tom Halaska. I am the sales director for Ritual Zero Proof Spirits. First, I wanted to apologize. I'm unable to make it today. I had a schedule conflict that I can't resolve, but I wanted to take some time to share my gratitude for being able to speak to y'all today, as well as show you a cocktail or two, probably just one, called the Pollen Pants. That is a drink that y'all can make at home. Very easy to make, but I wanted to start off by talking about Ritual just a little bit. Ritual is a non-alcoholic spirit alternative, easy to use, easy to understand. If you know how to use alcoholic gin, you can use our gin. So any cocktail that you would make using gin, you would just use Ritual in substitute of it. So it is not de-alcoholized. It never contained any alcohol. It is 0 calories, 0 sugars, really delicious. So wanted to start off by making a Pollen Pants, which is a riff off of a bee's knees. It is 2 ounces of our gin. I'm going to do 1 ounce of lemon juice. And then we're going to do 1/2 ounce of local honey. I brought this. I'm in Nashville right now, but I brought this from St. Louis. I always use local honey. It's good for allergies. 1/2 ounce of local honey. And let that all run out in there. Then we're going to fill that glass with ice. Shake it real tough.
He's got the bartender shake.
And I'm going to go ahead, because I have it, I'm going to go ahead and double strain that. Keep setting those little ice chunks. You serve this up in a martini glass. I found these little rocks glasses that I thought would be really great. Garnish with the lemon twist, a little squeeze, wipe around the glass. There we go. That's a Pollen Pants. Cheers, y'all. So I wanted to talk a little bit about options at bars and restaurants and really just being able to have your treat, right? I think that that's really what Ritual represents, is everybody wants a nice drink in a pretty glass when they go out. And I think Ritual definitely is that alternative, but there's other options out there too. So look for kombuchas or cold brews or things that are on the menu that aren't alcoholic that you might be able to ask to put into a fancy glass. You might be able to ask to have that participation portion of the evening to where you're not just drinking that soda or tea. I know how hard that can be personally. So wanted to provide options, and that's kind of why we exist, is to provide that inclusivity. I read today that your guiding principles are compassion, community, empowerment, inclusion, partnership, and trust. And I went through and I'm like, wow, there's a lot that Ritual attaches to as far as community and creating spaces where people can feel comfortable consuming or not consuming alcohol. I really think that that's awesome. And I really enjoy speaking with you all today. Really honored, as I said, to be here. And I wish I could be here in person. Maybe I can come back sometime and talk to y'all, but cheers to you.
Amazing.
Yes, amazing.
So
and
good.
Huge thank you to him for making that video for us so that we could share it today. And I think he said it best. when he talked about just going out and you want to be able to have a nice drink in a nice glass. And I think that's too where the fun of summer sips can come in, where we can make these fun beverages, even water, right? We can make some herb or fruit infused water and we can just put it in a nice glass for ourselves. And I like that he too said creating the space where people can choose to or not choose to consume alcohol. And so I feel like Ritual is a great segue and a great blend. They are great friends of ours. They supported our Harvest event this fall. If you are familiar with it, it's one of our larger fundraising events where we have a chef tasting and we had some zero proof options available thanks to Ritual. So Summer Sips, like I mentioned, is going to be happening all summer long. So please stay tuned for all of the recipes to come. There's a lot of really delicious ones, a lot of ones that my colleagues said that I would love to try. So I'm really excited to share them all with you. But we are not making zero proof cocktails today. We're actually doing something a little bit different. We are doing another one of our cooking methods virtual hangout. So you perhaps have hopped on another one of our cooking methods virtual hangouts. We did one for carrots way back in January, which feels like a decade ago. And then in March, we did dark leafy greens. So we highlighted kale and Swiss chard. Now we wanted to do another one in the summer and we were trying to choose what we would do for this cooking methods virtual hangout. And we thought, what would be better than some summer fruits? So we posted on our social media some polls as to which summer fruits you wanted to see. And resoundingly, everybody wanted to see us cook with our summer berries. And I will say I'm a little bit biased. I also voted for the berries because I wanted the berries to win as well. So today we're showcasing 4 different berry recipes. Each dietitian has a different berry. So I actually am going to start us off with our first berry. We have raspberry. So first and foremost, I have a small saucepan here. I'm going to turn it on medium-high heat, and then I'll tell you about the recipe. So I'll put that on medium-high. I'm going to make raspberry chia seed jam. So you may have heard of chia seed jam before, and I'll also backtrack and say this chia seed jam can be made with any fruit. So whatever your favorite is, it can be berries, it could be pineapple, it could be peach, it could be orange. There are so many different options. It just makes a beautiful low ingredient jam jelly that you can use on your favorite dishes. I'm going to be serving it up. Actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to be serving it up with at the end, but there are a lot of different options for how you can choose to serve that. All of the recipes from tonight will be posted onto our blog later on this evening. And you'll also see that you'll have access to a very exclusive code for Ritual to get a discount. So if you use Summer Sips, the code at ritualzeroproof.com, you'll get 25% off. So I just wanted to put that plug in there as well. But stay tuned on our social media and our blog for that announcement. I am going to go ahead. I have my raspberries here. And now that my pan is starting to feel warm, it's starting to get warm, I am going to go ahead and put my raspberries in. So this is just 2 pints of raspberries, 2 of the small clamshells of raspberries. You need about 2 cups of whatever fruit you're going to use. You want to heat a saucepan to medium-high heat. This is to cook down the berries a bit so they start to macerate, meaning they start to kind of break down into more of a sauce consistency. Now, I will say it does tend to happen, especially with raspberries, pretty quickly. So you won't have to wait too long. So I'm going to go ahead. I'll put the raspberries in. And they're nice and sizzling. And so now I'm going to just give them a stir. I'm going to keep stirring them because I don't want them to brown or get crispy or caramelized. I really just want to cook them and for them to soften up. So I'm going to keep giving it a mix. As I'm mixing it, and if you do this recipe at home with raspberries, you'll find that the raspberries slowly just start to break apart. So pieces of the raspberries are coming off while I am mixing it here. While I was prepping for today, I looked up some fun facts on raspberries, and I learned today that raspberries are actually part of the rose family, which I find very interesting. However, as we know, all of our different produce items, they come from so many different plants, and it's so exciting to learn about all of them, which is where our food for thought often comes into play. So if you haven't seen us do food for thought, it's where we give a little bit on the background and nutrition of different produce and plant forward items. I would definitely check out our website, uniteforher.org/food for thought for all of those videos. We have done a ton, and your favorite fruit or vegetable may even be featured. All right, so I'm mixing this up. This is getting nice and bubbly. That's the key. You want it to be bubbling. You don't need to cook it until the fruit is completely broken down, because what we're going to do is we're actually going to mash it with a potato masher or a fork if you don't have a potato masher. So I'm going to turn the heat off here, and I will bring this up and I will show you. We have our raspberries in here. You can see it's a little bit frothy, a little bit bubbly, a little bit chunky in there. I gave myself a hot pad here. And what I'm going to do first and foremost, now that I have this off of the heat, is I'm just going to take my potato masher and I'm going to mash it up. Now, with raspberries, they can be quite seedy. And I know that that is sometimes the critique of some of our berries, is all of the seeds. Now, the seeds are oftentimes where some of that fiber will come into play. So for those of you who are trying to get in more fiber, let's say, keeping the seeds in there is a great way to get some additional fiber. You'll also get a little extra bite with it, which I quite like. However, you can take a fine mesh sieve and you can also strain out all of those seeds if you don't want them there. Strain them all out, I would say, at this next step before we start to add anything else in. Now, with the ratios that I'm going to go into, feel free to play around with them a little bit. If you're making your own jam, you may find that raspberries, since they're a little bit more tart, you may want to add a little bit less of something like an acid. You may want to add more of a sweetener. Again, play around with the recipes. We love being flexible in the kitchen. I think that's one of the most important things. So find what works for you. The beauty of this recipe is that it's so quick and it's so easy. And then again, you have ultimate control over what you're making, how much sugar you put into it, for example. I love these recipes where you can make something you would normally enjoy yourself so that you don't necessarily have to go and grab it at the store. So I've got all my berries here. I've got them mashed down. I've got all the seeds in here. What I'm going to do is I need to put in now 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. Now, chia seeds, if you've ever worked with them before, they are small and black. And here, I'll show you what they look like too. They're small black seeds, and they're going to be a great source of fiber in our diet and healthy fats. So great to add to something like a smoothie or on top of a salad, or because when you add them to liquid, they plump up. Great addition to something like this jam to help make it a thicker consistency. So it helps to really bind everything and bring everything together. Now, depending on how thick or thin you want the chia seed jam, you might add a little bit more chia seed or a little bit less chia seed. So I'll put in 2 tablespoons. 1, 2. All right. And then I'm just going to start by giving this a good mix, because I do want the chia seed to start to really get incorporated into there so that it starts to thicken up sooner rather than later. The chia seeds are also going to add a little bit of a bite to it. So if you've got the seeds in there, the chia seeds as well, it'll be a little bit on the crunchier side. It's a multi-texture. What I always think of when I have these jams is make sure you have your floss with you, because these little chia seeds, they might get stuck in your teeth. So I always like to keep that handy. All right, so I've got the chia seeds in there. Now you want to put in about 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. If you don't have lemon juice, no problem. You can omit the lemon juice. You could put orange juice or lime juice. Again, all about flexibility. I think it's important to focus on what do you have versus I have to go run to the store and I have to grab something. I'm all about low waste, so I'd rather you use what you have and make it work. All right, so I got about 1 tablespoon, a little bit more. So I'm just going to pour it all in there. I'm going to give that a good mix. And then last but not least, this portion is optional. However, you can add, let's say, 1 or 2 tablespoons of something like a sweetener. So maple syrup, honey, etc., to really sweeten it and add a little bit of additional thickness. Because raspberries tend to be so tart, I'm going to go forward and I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of honey. Because that tartness from the raspberry and from the lemon juice just makes it a really tart bite, which I do like, but when I want jelly, I want it to be a little bit on the sweeter side. And I know sometimes we get questions about sugar and added sugars. The beauty of this is that you can control how much added sugar you put in, right? You don't have to put in any, especially if you have a fruit that's especially sweet. You could just completely omit that honey. Or, if you want to put a little bit, you want to put a different type of sweetener, you can put whatever makes sense to you. And this is going to go very far. So even though I put 2 tablespoons of honey in here, I'm going to use it on a ton of different things. So I'm only going to end up getting a little bit of that honey in every scoop that I use. All right, so I've got my jam here. I'll show you what it looks like. Traditionally, what we want to do is we want for it to sit for about 5 or so minutes so that it can really thicken up. However, I'm going to show you what it looks like when we plate it, just so that you can get an idea. So I have the plate here, and I was thinking of what I should plate it on, and I thought, what better than an English muffin, because I love a good English muffin with some butter and some jelly on it, and I know a lot of people are in the same boat. So I have some whole grain English muffins here. So I'm just going to go ahead and how I would plate this, which you could plate it in a wide variety of ways, but how I'm going to serve it is I'm just going to open up my English muffin. I'm going to put some jam on. Maybe I would put some peanut butter with it to give it a little bit of extra healthy fats and protein. But you can see here, it's a little bit thinner. If we leave it a little bit longer, it will start to thicken up. However, it's still a beautiful bite to put on top of your English muffin. So there, I've got some jam. And then we'll do our other half. Beautiful. And now you can keep this in the fridge, I would say for up to a week or so. You can put it in the freezer if you'd like and thaw it out when you want to use it later. It's great to add to different recipes on top of oatmeal, toast, yogurt, cottage cheese. There are so many ways to use it, but that is our raspberry chia seed jam. Perfect. Well, let me ask, are there any questions on the raspberry chia seed jam before I throw it over to our next host?
Yeah, no, I think you did it beautifully, and you're speaking my language with that muffin. I'll tell you, I am like all about it. Some butter, some jam, toast that muffin up. I think that's going to be dinner tonight, Aubrey.
Yes, I love an English muffin. I'm very excited to dig into this English muffin.
Yeah.
Well,
all right,
if
make sure
anybody
you bring
has
that
questions,
to Tuesday.
yes, I will bring it.
Meeting.
I will bring it. Well, I think we have Erin up next. Am I correct, Erin?
We do.
Yes.
Yep, you got her.
Well, since it's summer sips, I thought it would be fun if we all shook up a little bit from person to person. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pass this shaker over to Erin because you're going to need to shake it up too.
I am. Thank you. Oh,
yes.
Okay. Got it.
Got it?
Yes. Thank you. That was really good. I am very excited for my Holland pants later that I will be mixing up. But in the meantime, and I will say, before I jump into my summer berries,
I have made, Aubrey was 100% correct in that you can make that jam recipe with any type of summer berry. I've made a variation with blueberries and it's absolutely delicious. So it's quick, it's great to use if you have an abundance of summer fruit. So I love that recipe. But I'm very excited for my summer berry, which are these little beauties today, strawberries. And I am using them in a way that I have never used them before. So as I was playing with this recipe, I'm like, this is really great because I will be making grilled balsamic strawberries. And usually when we think of grilling fruit, you know, we often think of pineapple, we think of peaches, but strawberries are not one of those fruits that I think we think of adding to heat, but they are absolutely delicious. So you can grill your strawberries and add them to just about everything. You can make them a little bit sweeter and pair them with some whipped cream. You can add a little bit of savory, which is what I'll be doing, but it's a really quick recipe to whip up. And in fact, I did get started because I wanted to make sure that I had some good grilling going on. But all you need, and what I'm using is 1 pint of strawberries. I cleaned them and you'll see that I hold them. So I took the green root plant top and I just took the core out of the center. My strawberries are room temperature and they're dry. And then I'm using a grill pan. So you could certainly on your stove top. Can you hear me?
You're freezing a little bit, Erin. You're freezing just a little bit, but now you're back. You're good.
Now I'm here.
You're here.
Okay. Should I reiterate anything that I was saying?
Yeah, just do the last section one more time.
Okay. So real quick, the prep of my strawberries, I cleaned and pulled them. They're dry, they're room temperature. I'm using a grill pan that I have on medium low heat. So we're not going to grill our berries super high. And I do have a little bit of a neutral oil to help them from sticking to my pan. So we're not going to dress them just yet. We're going to add them to our pan to get started. So I'm going to throw my last 2 strawberries on. I've got a couple that are ready to go. And then while I flip my other strawberries, we'll talk a little bit about the health benefits of this amazing summer fruit. So what you'll end up seeing when they're finished, let me put this on my plate here. So they're going to get soft and you're going to see these really beautiful grill marks. But before we plate them, I'm going to add them to a bowl and we'll dress them at the end. So I've got a few that are done and then I'm just going to flip the strawberries that I added just before I came on screen. And all they need are 2 to 3 minutes on a side. And as tempting as it is to mess with the strawberries and see if they're grilling, you really do want to let them stay put. So a few have been on here for a little bit. We're getting some good grill marks initially. But while they keep working, let me share a little bit about the benefits of strawberries, because like all of our summer fruit, they come bearing lots of nutritional and health value. So strawberries, which many people aren't aware of, are very high in vitamin C. So typically when we think of vitamin C, the first thing that comes to mind is our citrus. And of course, oranges, tangerines, clementines, they are very high in vitamin C, but so are strawberries. And the riper the fruit is, the more of that amazing vitamin that we'll get. So oftentimes when I'm talking with our members about wound healing and how to get vitamin C in that really helps at that cellular level, I think of all of the vitamin C foods and I say, add some strawberries. This is the season. So enjoy them from your local farmer's market, add them on top of your cereal, make a strawberry chia jam if you wanted, grill some, add them to your salads, your yogurt, your oatmeal. So there's so many ways that you can enjoy them and a little goes a long way. So very, very high in vitamin C. They're also very high in the antioxidant anthocyanin. So we know that that particular antioxidant is what gives our beautiful summer produce the purples, the reds, the blues. And so the more red our strawberries, the higher the amount of our anthocyanin. And we know that our antioxidants are really great for helping to reduce inflammation. So you can feel good about, when thinking about eating an anti-inflammatory way of eating, incorporating all of our summer berries that we're talking about tonight as part of that way of eating. Strawberries are also a really great source of fiber, which means that they are supportive of gut health, and which is also supportive of immune health. We know the majority of our immune cells are created in the gut, which is really important. But that fiber also supports good blood sugar control because it slows down how rapidly glucose gets into the bloodstream and causes a rise in blood sugar. So oftentimes we're posed with the question, is fruit good for us? It contains those sugars. And we say, absolutely. The carbohydrates that are in our whole fruit are so good for us. And all of our produce contains fiber, which really lends itself to good blood sugar control. And this includes our strawberries. It's also a great source of potassium, and strawberries are a great source of folic acid, which means that they're also really wonderful to support our heart health. And they're also a great fruit to support our brain health. In fact, there are some studies that look at those that consume more blueberries and strawberries in the diet, they are shown to have less cognitive decline with age. So there's so many health benefits that we get to strawberries and frankly, all of the summer berries that we are featuring this evening. So with that being said, these strawberries look fantastic. I'm getting really great grill marks. I'm turning my grill pan off, and let's add all of them to a bowl because we're gonna finish off our savory dish tonight. Now, the key as we finish this is you want to dress it while your strawberries are still warm, because that will just add some complexity to that flavor. So we're going to finish off, I said these are grilled balsamic strawberries. So I have a tablespoon of balsamic vinegar here. And then for a little bit of sweetness, I'm adding a little bit of also local honey. So I am like speaking Tom's language when he talks about local honey. So I picked this up from my local farmer's market here in Philadelphia. So we love that. And then because everything is warm, it will just start to kind of combine and melt together, and it becomes really, really beautiful. Now, another way that you could enjoy these grilled strawberries is on a skewer. So you can use a metal skewer, you can use a wood skewer. Make sure you're soaking your wood skewers. Remove that green top. But if you want to make a little bit of a kebab on your grill, that would make for a fabulous presentation. So once everything is really well combined, I am going to put together my savory topping. And I'm actually going to slice some of these bigger strawberries as I plate it. So I do have a little bit of toast here. I popped this on my grill pan earlier, and this is something that I might have for breakfast actually. So I have a little bit of cottage cheese. It's low-fat cottage cheese, so it's lower in saturated fat, making it a heart-healthy option. It's a good source of calcium, great source of protein. And then I'm going to grab a few of my strawberries. They're warm, they're dressed beautifully. A quick slice on top, just in an effort to not have big chunks and make this a little bit easier for eating. So we'll just splay this out. And then, let me rinse my hands. I'm going to finish this with some freshly cracked black pepper. So a little bit of seasoning. The black pepper really pairs nicely with cutting some of that sweetness. And then what we have is a really wonderful play of sweet and savory with our grilled strawberries, a little bit of cottage cheese. Absolutely, Terry. If you don't have balsamic vinegar, what I would do is omit the honey and add a little bit of a balsamic glaze. A little bit goes a long way. So you could absolutely use that as well. And then even if you really wanted to be fancy with it, you could finish this with a little drizzle of balsamic glaze. But again, I have that black pepper on top. And this is just like a great little snack. You can make little toasts if you're presenting or you have a group over or you're going to a picnic. You know, you can assemble this on site. It's really easy to throw together, but very filling, a great little snack, and contains all of those amazing macronutrients. So we get a little bit of healthy fat, some protein, and some good carbohydrates. So that is my grilled balsamic strawberry toast, essentially, that I will be enjoying after our virtual hangout this evening. But now I want to turn it over to Katheryne. So let me grab my shaker because I think Katheryne's going next, and I want to make sure that I pass my shaker over to her. So let me just hand that over, Katheryne.
Hey,
Let me know that you got it. Oh, great, you got it. Okay.
I got
Good.
it.
Yep.
Oh,
Great.
that was dropping. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
So, Erin, I'm just shocked by your recipe. I didn't know it could turn out like that. And I was actually thinking about Father's Day this weekend. And I feel like it's so hard to actually get some fruit or vegetables in there. I'm always trying to bring like this fancy salad, putting some fruits in it, but I feel like that's just great because the grill is always up there. You know, my dad is always making some meat. So I feel like bringing in the strawberries and making something like that is going to be a hit. It could be for dessert. So thank you for that. That was
I
amazing.
love that idea.
And then so today I will be doing a blueberry salsa. Blueberries, I have about 1.5 cups here. Blueberries, like Erin mentioned, is very high in anthocyanins, and that is what it makes it be one of the few foods that are actually blue in color. And it provides all of these great health benefits. It can help prevent high blood pressure. It can improve your brain health, prevent some diseases. It also has antioxidant properties, is high in vitamin C, high in vitamin A and E. And not only that, but did you guys know that we've been eating blueberries for over 1,300 years? That is just insane. Imagine how many blueberries that is for 1,300 years. So today, the recipe that I'll be making doesn't include any kitchen use. So it's going to be all just throwing everything in a food processor. So here I have 1.5 cups, about 1.5 cups of blueberries. I have a large tomato. I have a jalapeno. I have lemon. I have onions, and I also have some cilantro and just one little garlic. So the cool thing about the salsa is that we don't need to get too picky about everything. We can just chop everything as kind of equal as we can and then just throw it into the food processor. So I'm going to start off, I'm going to just pull it here so that you guys can see. All right, so I'm going to start off with the tomato. Just going to cut this part off, throw it away, and then just making about 1/4 size cubes. I'm going to start cutting it this way and then this side ahead. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just make sure that it's chunks that can fit into your food processor. So if you have a big one, then you don't really have to worry about this one. Mine's a little bit small, so I have to be a little bit more careful. So I'm going to just throw everything in there. So we're going to throw in everything that I mentioned at the beginning, and we're going to pulse a little bit. And then later, we're going to throw in the blueberries. So blueberries for last, same as the lemon. Okay, I'm going to pull this a little bit here. Oh, that's not on. There we go. Now I'm going to throw in everything. Cilantro. I feel like I always put cilantro. Somehow cilantro always ends up in my recipe, even if it really wasn't. The garlic. I have about 1/4. It's about 1/4 of an onion in here. It's also you know, preference of what you like. And then I'm going to use just a little bit of jalapeno. So jalapeno, if you're very sensitive to it, maybe start with like 1/4. If it's very spicy and you are sensitive to it, then maybe wear gloves so that it doesn't burn. And cut just a little bit. Take the seeds out. If you do like spicy, definitely keep those seeds in there. All right, I'm going to use a curing knife, and then I'm just going to take the seeds off this way. I am not a fan of spicy food. It doesn't really agree with me. But interesting enough, some people actually eat hot food and it helps them with digestion. So it can go either way. You can either suit with you very well and help you digest other food and feel better and improve your metabolism and everything, or it could just send you straight to the bathroom. Or me, I just like red, just like a dragon. All right, so then I have a little bit of jalapenos. I'm gonna pour this again.
Katheryne, I feel like you used a lot of jalapeno there. I was always so afraid to use that much. So
Really?
that's not too spicy? Yeah.
Well, it depends, also on the jalapeno. So you're supposed to eat a little bit right before.
Taste
I'm
it?
just scary just in case I was gonna blow up here. But yeah, so because it depends on how it was grown. So even sometimes the color. So if the brighter it is, the hotter that it can be. But to be safe, you want to taste it just like a little bit right before.
Got
The
it.
recipe did call for about half of a jalapeno, so I did about. So here we go. So that's it looks like salsa, right? Then now we're gonna add the blueberries. This is another fun way of adding fruits to things that you normally incorporate, and then making it more fun, more colorful, more nutritious. And then I have 2 tablespoons of lemon juice here. And then now I'm going to pulse very slowly because I want it to be, I don't want the blueberries to crumble. Perfect. And I love how, with all of these creative recipes that we have, everyone was like, what do I plate it with? How do I make it pair? And everything paired out perfectly. But for me, I felt like, what else can I pair salsa with that it's not chips? There is nothing that pairs better with salsa than chips. So I have my plate here with whatever chips I have left that I haven't eaten yet. And then I'm just gonna pour it over here. This blueberry salsa looks amazing. Right. And then all of the ingredients that I used today are also high in vitamin C. So you are definitely getting your daily's worth just with this salsa. And there we go. I also thought, just thinking about fathers, I feel like it's just been going on in my head. It's like right there. So I also thought I could also use this for chicken. So like putting it on top of chicken, I'm thinking just that, like they're definitely going to be grilling some stuff, and I'm going to bring this and I'm going to put it on top of everything. Aside from, and if not, it's going to go with chips. There's always chips. So if you guys want to try it, I would definitely recommend it. And then now I'll be giving it over to Michele. Michele, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Here I go.
Okay. Got it. Thank you. And guess what? My recipe,
Yes.
I actually can use the shaker. So thank you, Katheryne. All right. So I am doing this wonderful blackberry vinaigrette. And I love this recipe because, as my colleagues were talking about, you can use any type of berries. Matter of fact, one of my cooking demos last summer, I did a strawberry vinaigrette. So you can take the blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, and make the same recipe. So I am using blackberries here. I have about 6 ounces of fresh blackberries. I gave them a good rinse. Now, I feel like my colleagues made my job easy because all of the wonderful healthful properties, same for blackberries. So 1 cup of blackberries represents 8 grams of fiber. And for fiber, we have 2 types of fiber: soluble, insoluble fiber. This is a great source of insoluble fiber. So it's going to, sorry to talk about this as we're making food, but bulk our stool and helps keep us regular. So very important, right? Vitamin C, as we've been talking about for the last 45 minutes, great for collagen production, so beneficial for our connective tissue, good for our bone health, our immune system, of course, and for iron absorption as well. Another source, a good source, is vitamin K, which is great for blood clotting properties and for bone metabolism. So even though we mentioned all of these great healthful, beneficial nutrients, even more. So definitely incorporate berries into your day. So all of the recipes here, smoothies, yogurt, cereal, oatmeal, a lot of different ways to incorporate them into your diet. So let's get to the vinaigrette. I have my 2-cup food processor here. This is all you're really going to need. So whenever I'm making dips or marinades or dressings like this, I like the 2-cup. You can certainly use a larger food processor. You can use a blender. You can even use an immersion blender as well. So again, what Aubrey kept saying, whatever you have on hand is what you want to use. So I'll just go ahead and put the blackberries in here. I'm going to add my olive oil. You could definitely get away with avocado oil as well. I think that would be great. Vinegar. So balsamic vinegar, red wine vinegar, white vinegar, apple cider vinegar, whatever you would like to use. Interesting fact that my son actually brought up, I was so proud of him. I had him try this and he said, "What's in it?" So I said, olive oil, balsamic vinegar. And he said, "Well, what's the point of that? You're supposed to get the sweetness from the berries, but you're adding balsamic vinegar, which has sweet in it also." And I was like, "Oh, my son, maybe he does pay attention when I'm in the kitchen at least." So yes, if you have berries that are really not as sweet as you'd like them to be, then maybe use balsamic vinegar so you can get back some of that sweetness. But if they're already sweet and tart, then go with the red wine vinegar, the white vinegar, the apple cider vinegar. My blackberries are perfection, so I'm using a red wine vinegar. I am using honey. It's not local honey, so sorry. And with the honey, maybe use this. The recipe calls for 1 to 2 teaspoons. Start with 1. Again, you might not need any more sweetness. And then my lemon. So lemon, lime, orange, change it up. Experiment with all of the different flavors. So fresh squeezed lemon juice. You could always use the lemon juice that are in those cute little yellow containers or the large bottles. Just going to use a little bit here. Add a teaspoon. And then some fresh zest. I mean, zesting any type of citrus is wonderful. It really adds that nice fresh scent and a burst of flavor. So what I'm going to use, this is a microplane. You don't have a microplane, you can use a grater. It might be a little bit thicker. So using a microplane gets those nice thin slices. When you use a microplane, you could also use this for garlic or ginger as well. But when you're using citrus, you don't need to rub it all the way down to the white pith. You just need the yellow color. That's where all of the essential fragrant, yes, that's totally, you could, absolutely, the nice fragrance from the essential oil. So and you don't need that much. A little goes a long way. And I will say, microplanes, after a while, they do wear down. So I am about due for a new microplane. Okay. just a little bit of salt and pepper. Again, like Erin was mentioning, that pepper brings out or kind of cuts that sweetness a little bit, and even from the acid as well. Cuts it a little bit. A little bit of salt. Okay. Simple, right? Just threw a bunch of things into my food processor. Now, as we were talking about earlier, raspberries, strawberries, blackberries, not blueberries, of course, have seeds. So unless you have your dental floss next to you while you're eating, you can strain the seeds out of this. So you can use your sieve. I have my loose tea holder right here. So I thought, well, this is perfect to put right into my jar. So trying to be resourceful. Well, it's laid out right here. And pour it in this way. We are going to separate those seeds from the actual dressing. So you get a nice thin dressing or a nice thin vinaigrette. All right. Beautiful. So if you find, and I'm not going to do the whole thing, but if you find that your vinaigrette is too thick, you can add a little bit of water to thin it out. Be careful though, you don't want it too thin, but if it is too thin, if you have extra berries, you can just add berries into that. So I am going to drizzle this over a nice fresh salad. So I just have some romaine, I have some raw onion. I won't be seeing anyone tonight, so I can have offensive breath, right? But I love raw onion. Have a couple tomatoes. So I love this because I'm using so many different colors. 2 shameless plugs. Here's the first one. As Aubrey was mentioning, our first 101 class back in January, my job was to show you how to make beautiful, fancy strips of carrot. And all you're doing is peeling your carrot, scrubbing your carrot, peeling it, and then I'm just taking the vegetable peeler and making some cute, fancy strips right here, little curls. I have a purple carrot as well. So just keeping with the theme of those beautiful blue, red, and purple colors for those anthocyanins for our immune health. Some of that. Second shameless plug before I finish this off. Sweet treats. That is my cooking demo for this month. I will be using berries in 2 of my recipes. So if you want to learn more about how we can use berries to satisfy that sweet tooth, I have a class tomorrow night and I have a class on June 22nd. So thank you for letting me do that shameless plug. Okay, so I have my vinaigrette right here. Just going to do a little bit of a drizzle. This is a beautiful salad. So I have all my different colors here and then the beautiful vinaigrette. So hopefully you got to see the thickness of it, and I'll just pour it back in here so you can see what I was going with. So that's about the consistency that you want. So it's a nice vinaigrette that sticks to those lettuce leaves and all those beautiful vegetables. So with that, I believe I'm tossing it back over to Aubrey, right?
Got it.
Sorry, everybody. Didn't want you to hear me standing over here in the kitchen. However, yes, we are tossing it back to me just so that I can wrap up. So I am so thankful to everybody for showing you all these beautiful berry forward recipes, because I know that I love summer berries, and I think a lot of us know that berries are really rich, and as you heard today from everybody, really rich in different nutrients, particularly those antioxidants that are going to help our cells from damage and death. And so a lot of us and a lot of people will ask, how can I get in more berries? And we always think on top of oatmeal, on top of yogurt, on top of a salad. But now you have 4 new ways to try summer berries. So go pick your own berries if you have a local farm so that you can get some fresh, beautiful berries. Maybe you'll try berries in one of our summer sips recipes this summer. Who knows? Just a reminder that we had our friends from Ritual come at the beginning of our class today for summer sips. And if you use the code Summer Sips at ritualzeroproof.com, you'll get 25% off your order now through the end of June. So I would go over there now, grab your favorite spirit, just so that you can start joining us with our summer sips all summer long. But with that, that's all we have for you today. I hope you all enjoyed our different berry recipes. I know we have our finished products here, all of us, and I even put my leftover jam in a jar too to show you how to store it. But I hope that you enjoyed all the different summer berry recipes that we had for you today.
Amazing. I am so hungry right now. I don't know about the rest of the audience, but I'm like, oh, salivating. Yes, it was so good. And Erin, I am all about that calcium in that cottage cheese. So that was another
Here's your
good
treat. I know.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you. Well, everybody, thanks for joining. That is our fabulous 4 registered dietitians that we have the honor of having on staff. And it was really great to see everybody come up with some fun recipes. Just as a reminder, make sure that you join us for also the Ask the Experts that's coming up. That is Thursday, June the 20th at 1 p.m. We'll be joined with Joanna Duran, cancer rights attorney and CEO of Triage Cancer, to answer all of your questions about handling your medical bills and how to seek financial support with cancer. So don't forget to submit your questions. Go to our library, actually go to uniteher.com/her library-ask, and I'll put that in the chat for everybody. Also, everything is on our library. So all these great recipes are on our blog, and then go to our library to just, if you want to watch this over again. I know when I get home, I am making a pollen pants, and I am going to make that cottage cheese strawberry toast. I'm ready. Yeah, it was great. Thank you all. I appreciate you, and everybody have a great evening. Thanks for joining.